We're going to talk about electric vehicles today, more specifically the charging stations. I'm going to put a slightly more realistic perspective on the transition to EVs than the wildly optimistic and highly idealistic views that are currently being put by our various governments around the world. So if you like this kind of content, it would be great to have you as a subscriber. First of all, why do people want to switch to EV? Because it sounds amazing. They are much cheaper to power compared to gas vehicles and lower maintenance since they have fewer moving parts. It is also great for the environment. EVs have zero tailpipe emission, meaning they produce no direct emissions, resulting in cleaner air. Studies also show that EVs have a lower lifetime carbon footprint, with lower overall greenhouse gas emissions. All of that sounds nice and rosy, but here's a problem which nobody seems to be talking about. This problem is going to make a big difference to the infrastructure of EV charging, which makes EV transition a lot less attractive and a lot more impractical. After all, the feasibility of mass EV adoption depends greatly on the accessibility and availability of charging infrastructure. If charging stations are sparse, unreliable, fail to charge vehicles quickly, then is going electric really the magic bullet it is made out to be? By the end of this video, you will have a clearer answer about this question. First, let's take a step back and have a look at how things work in gas stations. As you can see here, the fuel is delivered by a tanker, which can have between 20,000 and 40,000 liters of fuel, and then it's dumped into this underground tank. Now that underground tank plays a really important role. Each fuel pump in the gas station has its own feed pipe from the tank to the pump itself. So if one driver turns up at the fuel station and wants to fill up the car, that pump is activated and it draws fuel from that huge tank. If 2 people or 3 people or 5 people turn up at the gas station at the same time, each of those pumps is fed by a separate pipe, and each of those pumps can deliver the maximum quantity of fuel to those cars in the shortest possible time. It doesn't matter if there's 1 car there or if there's 10 cars there. The real problem with an EV charging station is the absence of the tank that acts as a buffer to deal with additional demands. The connection between the EV charging station and the grid is of a fixed capacity. So for example, say an EV charging station has a maximum connection of 1 megawatt to the grid. Then if 1 or 2 vehicles are charging, say at 350 kilowatts, then they will each get the full 350 kilowatts. But if there are 3 people trying to charge at 350 kilowatts, and when there's only 1 megawatt of power available, that means each of those charges is going to be scaled down by 50 kilowatts. And as the number of cars being charged increases, the speed of each charging point will decrease. It's completely different to a current fuel station because of the fact that they have this tank. They're able to provide maximum fuel flow to 10 or 12 or however many pumps they have at that particular station. The other problem with this is that other users of the electricity grid are battling with the EV charging station for electricity. If there's a large industrial site nearby which needs a lot of electricity, that is going to upset the balance of the network and adversely affect a charging station which is connected nearby. This is a problem because when you look at those big service stations on freeways, they often have a huge number of pumps. They need to get people through quickly, and the tanks allow for this buffer. So if there's a lot of customers that all come at once, they can still fill their cars as quickly as if there was just 1 person there. And this is just not going to be possible for mass EV chargers on major freeways. So you're going to turn up to a charging station and really you're not going to know whether you're going to get the full power out of that charger or not. And it's going to depend very much whether there are other people there with you or you're there on your own. It's completely unpredictable. As EV adoption increases, this problem will become more and more apparent. I hope you enjoyed my analysis. I did my best to make it short and concise. What do you think about this EV situation? Let me know what you think.